Attention, everyone. Late into the night, burning the midnight oil.
Yeah.
The committee was gathered at Nick's house, and a little bit of an outside. I heard you had to put some chairs outside.
Yeah, we went out on the same balcony. Coach and I were out.
It was heated in there.
Oh, it was bad. There was almost a resignation. I have never, listen, my vote counts for 2.
What?
Well, there's 8 of us, so there's 8-member committee.
I thought there was 12.
No, well, we had, again, COVID and there's some things. So listen, there were some people didn't come back this year. There's 8 of us. My vote counts for 2. I was outvoted on 2 very important things in this. But the committee has proven to have the best, what some people call power ranking system in the NFL. It's our tiers. Let's start with the ones that don't even get a name, the bottom 8. Listen, 5 of these teams were in must-win games last week, the committee told you, and they didn't win them. And then there's also Atlanta, the Patriots, and Washington, who just are not good football teams. There is one team on here that I actually think is a good team, but I was outvoted. Okay, now, 2 wins, don't care. That's the name of this category. All these teams are 2-1. I don't care. They all are not any good. All of them have offenses that just make you want to rip your eyes out. Justin Fields has 23 completions on the year. The Cowboys are trying to make it work with Cooper Rush. The Giants are pretending Daniel Jones isn't Daniel Jones. And the Broncos are yet to crack the 17-point mark, so 2 wins, don't care. Self-sabotage, next group. All of these teams should have 2 wins themselves, but they can't get out of their own way. Arizona insists on continuing to have Cliff Kingsbury as a coach. Carolina fumbles the opening kickoff in the next drive and misses kicks. Pittsburgh won't start the right quarterback. Detroit last week, Dan Campbell, I want to support you. Blowing that game can't happen. And the Titans, I know Coach gets upset because Vrabel's his guy, but the Titans are not the number 1 seed they were last year. Okay, could get hot. Now we're to teams that are interesting. All 4 of these teams could make round 2. All 4 of them could miss the playoffs. These teams, if they get rolling and if they get the right matchup, could be a disastrous round 1 matchup for one of the top seeds in the league. However, none of them have shown any level of consistency. In fact, they all only have 1 win where you can believe in them long term, but their upside is greater than any team beneath them. Can we believe? These are 3 absolutely tortured fan bases. The Jags have never had anything to cheer for. The Vikings have lost 4 Super Bowls, and the Browns were a punchline forever. But all of these teams, week in, week out, look like really good football teams. The Jags, of course, have the prince that was promised. The Vikings have everything but the quarterback. And the Browns should be 3-0, if not for a disastrous end-of-game situation against the Jets. And their quarterback's on his way back, in 2 months. All right, next group. Injuries or Odell. And by that, I mean this. All 4 of these teams are Super Bowl contenders if they get healthy, or in the case of the Green Bay Packers, if they sign Odell Beckham Jr. I feel like they are a wide receiver weapon away in Green Bay and Los Angeles to a different extent. And listen, Kenny Galladay might be available, but we know Odell's available. Tampa and Baltimore, they just need to get healthy, and they're right there at the top tiers. Okay, penalty box. These are the 2 best teams in football, but they must be penalized. They had 2 unacceptable losses. And so now they just have to sit next to each other. They don't like each other. No. They don't like being around each other. They both feel like they're better than the other one, but they both lost games they had no business losing. The Chiefs losing in the fashion they did, Chris Jones getting an unsportsmanlike conduct, they're missing kicks, doing fake kicks, and the Bills outgaining the Dolphins by 250 yards, losing the game, unacceptable. All right, usually this next group is number 1 contender. This week it is number 1 seed contender. Oh. The Philadelphia Eagles, if you look at their schedule, have 11 games remaining against teams that are either off the tiers or in the bottom 2 rows. It is hard to see how they don't get to 13 wins. I do not believe, and the committee does not believe they can win the Super Bowl. The committee does believe they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC and have a bye. And then we know favorites go at number 1. Favorites until Friday, the Miami Dolphins. When they lose on Thursday night, they will no longer be the favorites. However, when you beat Baltimore, Brew, and when you beat the Buffalo Bills the way you did, you deserve to have, a ceremony much like the Bills did. They were the September champs briefly. Oh, I guess Miami's also that. They're the September champs because you beat the champs, you get the title. And now, so there it is. So there's the committee tiers for week 4 in the NFL, Brew.
All right, look, I'm going to erase some of the names, but outside of that, Nick, I got to give the committee credit. Not you, because I know you wanted Kansas City still to be number one.
Well.
But I have not seen this in my year plus on the show, a tiers this unbiased. So credit to the committee. Really, the fact that you got Miami and Philadelphia up there, okay. But here's the problem: it's not perfect. Come on, man. The Cowboys, 2 wins, don't care. They should be on. I'm not going to go overboard. They should be on the 5th tier. Can we believe? Question mark. I get it. But can we believe? And let me give you a fun fact about Cooper Rush. You know I'm about the facts.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush, not only 3-0 in his career, but he has 3 game-winning drives in those 3 wins. And here, Nick, listen to this stat. And I'm not going Jerry Jones on guys. I'm just got to throw it out, though.
A little bit. Doing a little bit. Jerry Jones.
Guess how many game-winning drives Dak has in his last 39 games?
3.
3, yes. I'm just saying. So 2 guys that you despise, let's give them credit. Let's give Cooper Rush some credit for winning, and let's give Mike McCarthy a little credit. Everybody's talking about Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn. Coaches with me. You got to give the head coach some credit. Sure. But really, head coach, he had to set the tone. We don't give up when Dak's out. 2 big, you like this, 2 big fourth down calls.
Yeah, I do.
In the last 2 games. Gutsy, they worked.
Sure.
And his team won. So I got to give Cooper Rush and Mike McCarthy.
I don't even want to respond to the Cowboys thing just because we give the Cowboys enough. We already gave them enough talk on the show. I'm just glad that Brew, whether he recognizes it or not, has folded his hand on the Broncos. I mean, the fact that of all the teams that he could pick on that same tier where the Broncos 2 wins don't care, and Brew's like, no, obvious. Nick's right on him.
They're obvious.
All right, go ahead, Coach.
Well, when I look at it, I just wonder how much time the committee spends on ranking the teams, how much they spend on finding new names and new ways to put Kansas City up to the top.
Kansas City was not at the top.
If you want to make fun of Nick, that is totally on board. Do not go after the committee as a whole.
They're not here.
They're not even here.
I would be happy to meet with the committee at any point and just, as an unbiased observer, evaluate the process because obviously it's flawed.
Yeah.
I look at a team. I look at a team like the Raiders, and to me, they could easily be in any one of those. Could get hot or take your pick of 2 or 3 up from where they are.
Self-sabotage.
They have an explosive offense, which is going to continue to get better. Derek Carr, typically with a new offensive coordinator, struggles early on, but there's so many good things that they have and potentially can continue to have with more time in this system. And there's been some self-sabotaging there. They should have never lost to the Cardinals, and that was ridiculous. I understand that. Defensively, they're going to have to generate more sacks. They're going to have to generate more takeaways, and they're probably going to have to pressure more than they do now. They're at about 12%. But I think once Josh gets that worked out, they're going to push. They're going to push in a way that's going to make you very uncomfortable.
And when Devontae Adams gets back from the sabbatical, he's not playing, but it does. All right, but here's the thing: in all seriousness, Coach, if you remember, I said there was one team at the bottom that I greatly disagreed. I was outvoted on. That's the Raiders.
Wow.
I think the Raiders, I agree with you, Coach.
Bring me in as a consultant.
The Raiders,
let me evaluate the committee.
Come Halloween, are going to be entrenched right in the meaty middle of the
So you give them a shot.
Absolutely. I don't think they're done.
Wow.
I don't think
they also like to dress up in costume.
Only 6 teams in NFL history. 0-3 made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts about you weren't even prepped for that.
Walking
in a 17 game season.
Well, 17 game and an extra playoff team. Right, and an extra playoff team. So all those numbers are going to be a little different. Go ahead, Wild.
You're probably a member of the committee based on facts like that.
Go ahead.
If you were, that would hurt my feelings. If you were on the committee and I wasn't.
Yeah.
I won't tell you.
Okay. My petition is to move the Broncos up. Broussard didn't want to do it. I will talk about the Broncos.
Oh, wow.
First reason
Good job,
is a Belichickian start. A wise man who was seated across from me, Coach Mangini, said you start the season of trying to be who you want to be, but then you find out who you need to be. Did I get it right?
That's
no.
Exactly right.
So not only is it football advice, that's life advice. I came on this show wanting to deliver cogent analysis. And then Nick said, nope, you're just a handsome court jester. So you know what I said? Whatever it takes to win. That's who I wanted to be. Found out who I need to be. Reason number 2. Stout defense. I know you're thinking, who do we need to be? Who do we want to be? They know they've got a stout defense. If we can show Dusty's stats, points per game, second, yards per game, third, passing yards, third. So all of a sudden, as Russ starts to get cooking,
And he will,
marinating a little bit, the defense can take care of it. And finally, reason number 3, just the straight up scoreboard. They're 2-1. They're going to play the winless Raiders.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're 3-1. And if the Kansas City Chiefs, who might steal a home game away from the Bucs if they have to play in Minnesota,
Maybe we'll make up for the Super Bowl we had to play on the road.
regardless. But if Kansas City loses to the GOAT, guess who's in first place all of a sudden?
Wow.
Well, it's Mr.
Wouldn't that be
Unlimited.
something?
It's dangerous. Let's ride the Broncos all the way up to could get hot on the tiers.
Okay, no,
Wild.
we won't do
That
that.
was good.
Excellent.
Listen,
I'm not just
Broncos
a court jester. I
defense
told you.
is
that was
The
legit.
handsome court.
That was coaching.
Handsome court.
That
yes.
right.
The Broncos defense is legit, and they have one of the best home field advantages in all of sports. However, do you remember when I was telling you before the year, we were talking the Patriots, I think. Do you remember the proprietary algorithm about coach, quarterback, brain power?
Yeah.
And it was like Brady, Belichick was like a 99, and
Yes.
Brady McDaniel's 96, and we were talking about Mac Jones.
You
and
took a
Joe
shot
Judge.
at Joe Judge, yeah.
We haven't, listen, I haven't crunched the full numbers yet, but I can do it by tomorrow. The Nat Hackett current version Russ Wilson dynamic might be our first one in the negative. It might be off the Richter. And because of that, the Broncos are exactly where they deserve to be. They haven't cracked 17 points yet. Russ has had one quality drive entire season. He's been the worst quarterback in the red zone in the league. Their defense can't overcome that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.